Have you had times in your life when you feel like you're just faking it? You know, that stomach dropping moment when you feel like they're about to discover that you're not as capable as they thought you were? Well, it's a universal feeling. In fact, they say that 70% of us have had this feeling, sometimes more than once. And it's common in many different scenarios. A new parent, for instance, can feel totally inadequate when their child is crying incessantly. A promotion can cause anxiety. You're sure that others were more qualified than you, or perhaps you're a minority in your field. Maybe you've started a business and you start to realize how much you really don't know. Surely your customers or your employees will find out just how inadequate you are. And even retirees can feel guilty for their good fortune. What's happening? Well, you're a fish out of water. The imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern where a person doubts their accomplishments, their position, and has a persistent and internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. In this video, we're going to explore 7 practical strategies for overcoming these feelings of inadequacy and remedies to counteract that inner belief that you are unworthy and you've somehow landed right where you just don't belong. Even the most accomplished people feel this condition. Albert Einstein, for one, he said this: "The exaggerated esteem in which my life work is held makes me feel very ill at ease. I feel compelled to think of myself as an involuntary swindler." In my career, there were numerous times when the imposter syndrome struck me. I remember one time in particular when I was about 27 years old. I'd been a salesman over a largely rural area for a major food company, and I'd been there for maybe just a couple of years when suddenly I was promoted to one of 2 sales managers in the California Bay Area. The other manager was in his 50s, and all of the salespeople that I inherited were 20 or 25 or more years older than I was, and they'd been there for many, many years. Why wasn't one of them promoted? I couldn't help but think that. Talk about me feeling out of my element. And I couldn't help but wonder, of course, if maybe they would hate me. And I couldn't help but wonder why they didn't promote one of the other younger men that had many more years than I had with the company. Yeah, maybe promoting me was a big mistake on their part. Well, in a bit, I'll share how that played out. First, I want to look at a couple of examples of what people are most prone to this syndrome. Here's one type: children and young adults who are high achievers. They've developed the habit of always trying to be the very best, and that's an impossible standard to live up to. Number 2, social comparisons also bring on the syndrome. Achievers are often surrounded by other achievers, and they can't help but look at each other and wonder who's more experienced, who's doing a better job, and they must be better than I am. Another scenario is new situations. Sometimes we're thrust into a new and unfamiliar position. It's that fish out of water effect. There are several more, of course: the fear of disappointing others, the feeling that you've been lucky so far and that your luck is about to run out. Or maybe you're the type of person that insists on the impossible, like perfectionism. If you fit into any of these, take heart. Sometimes it's the highly skilled, most accomplished in their field that feel this syndrome the most. Take, for instance, Tom Hanks, who said there comes a point where you think, how did I get here anyway? When are they going to discover that I am, in fact, a fraud and then take everything away from me? Here's another truth about this syndrome. It's often felt more acutely by women. So if you're a woman and feeling this, I would encourage you to read the book Lean In: Women, Work, and the Will to Lead by Sheryl Sandberg. Sandberg held several high positions in government and industry. At Meta, Facebook, she was a chief operating officer and contributed greatly to Facebook's success. She is also an advocate for gender equality. Listen to what she had to say about this subject. Every time I was called upon in class, I was sure I was about to embarrass myself. Every time I took a test, I was equally sure that I had done badly. And every time I didn't embarrass myself, and even when I excelled, I believed that I had fooled them once again, and one day soon the jig would be up. She admitted to the imposter syndrome, and she said both men and women can feel this, but women tend to experience it more acutely and be more limited by it. So from the most talented and accomplished to everyone else, no one is immune. Okay, so where do we turn? What's our path forward in life's sometimes strange journey? Here's our simple yet very effective 7-step process to overcome the imposter syndrome. First, recognize what it is and that you're not alone. You're facing self-doubt. That's all it is. And it's a universal trait. Just know that you don't have to stay there. Second, reframe your self-doubt and challenge your inner critic. A great way to reframe this doubt is to show yourself compassion. Treat yourself the way you would treat a good friend, a loved one. And forgive yourself and accept that doubt doesn't define you. Number 3, talk about it with a trusted friend, with mentors, a therapist. Use friends, mentors, and professionals as a sounding board to open yourself up to why this is happening right now. With this outside support, you can get out of your own head. Here's number 4. Separate feelings from facts. Realize that your feelings are just your perception, not reality. Begin to focus on the facts. Here's where you are right now, and that's okay, because you've always managed things in the past, and you will this time. Number 5, focus on your strengths and celebrate small wins. Recognize that you've been obsessing over what you perceive to be your weaknesses, your lacks. List instead your strengths. Focus on them and then congratulate yourself for this progress. Number 6, focus on your purpose with a growth mindset. What is this new mission of yours? What are the new duties that you've taken on? And what will keep you moving forward? Your challenge now is whether you want to grow or go backwards. You can't stand still, so choose growth. And finally, number 7, embrace imperfection. Above all, I think, is to act anyway. You won't always be ready, but you must get going. It's a mindset shift. Things will not be perfect. Mistakes will be made, but only through movement can you make course corrections. So back to my story of my promotion. To be honest, it was a challenge, and I didn't do very many things correctly, but I did keep moving. I focused on my strengths as a salesman, and I offered to call on the biggest grocery chains in the area before passing them on to those under me. My success gave me confidence as well as the respect of the employees under me, and I was off and running. Sometimes all it takes is a little win, a change of mindset. It's all part of the journey that we call life. Whether we're young, late in life, or anywhere in between, it's our present moments that we have the most control over. Find a little win that will move you forward. Remember, you are not alone, and feelings of inadequacy are just that, feelings. And they are just part of the journey. With action, resiliency, and a positive mindset, you'll prove to yourself and to everybody else that you do, in fact, belong. So please share. What was your imposter syndrome like? What did you do about it? Let me know in the comments. Navigating life's journey is more fun together. I'm Mel Inglima. Be sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, thank you.